Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'll be showing you how to make bakery-style chocolate chip muffins. Hey Sugar Spun Bakers, it's Sam here, and today I am so excited to be sharing another carefully tested, well-researched, and perfected recipe. These muffins actually featured on the blog several years ago. I thought it was about time the video get an update, so let's go ahead and get started. Now you're going to need a large mixing bowl, and in this we are going to combine 1/4 cup of melted unsalted butter with 1/4 cup of a neutral cooking oil. Now I typically use canola oil, but vegetable oil would also work. Now I'll just use my spatula to briefly stir this together. Now if your butter was really hot from being melted, you're going to want to let it cool for about 5 to 10 minutes before you go any further. You don't want to use a really hot butter here, or it can melt your sugars and kind of mess with your batter a little bit. Once your butter is nice and cool, we can add 1 cup of granulated sugar, and we'll stir that into our butter and our oil. Next, you are going to need 1 large egg, and you're also going to need 1 large egg white. The easiest way to get that egg white out of there is just to break the shell, just pass the yolk back and forth, and then we can discard of the yolk. We'll just add the white in with our other egg. Now we'll add 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract, and I like to just whisk everything together really well so it's nicely combined. I usually end up vigorously whisking this mixture for about 10 to 15 seconds. The next thing that you're going to need is 1/2 cup of full fat buttermilk, and we'll whisk this in as well. All right, so this is looking pretty good, so we'll set this aside. Now you're going to need a separate bowl for your dry ingredients. Here we're going to combine 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour with 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. I love using cornstarch in so many of my baked goods. It's going to help keep the muffins nice and soft and tender, and it's going to give them a nice structure without drying them out. We'll also add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and we'll whisk everything together until it's nicely combined. All right, now bring back your wet ingredients, and we're just going to pour all of our dry ingredients right into the bowl. Now at this point, I like to switch back to a spatula, and I'm just going to gently fold the ingredients together until the flour mixture is about 50% incorporated. Now once it's about 50% combined, I like to grab my chocolate chips. For today's recipe, I'm going to be using a cup of chocolate chips. I'm using semi-sweet chips, and I'm actually using a blend of mini and regular sized chips. You can use just one or the other. And I'm actually not going to put all of them into the bowl. I'm going to reserve a few for sprinkling on top of the muffins. It just makes them look nice and pretty. These are bakery style muffins after all, so appearance matters. All right, now we'll continue mixing our batter, but you do not want to over mix it. You want to make sure all the flour is nicely incorporated, but once you get to that point, you want to stop. And this is why I add the chocolate chips halfway through incorporating the flour, because if we added them once all of the flour was combined, you run the risk of overmixing your muffins, and then they may end up dry and dense, which we don't want. All right, now you could bake your batter right at this moment, but what I like to do is I like to cover it with a towel and let it sit for at least 15 minutes. Now while it's sitting, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm just going to let my batter rest for as long as it takes for my oven to get to that temperature. Now once my oven's at temperature and at least 15 minutes has passed, we can uncover our batter, and I just want you to take a look at it. It's a little bit thicker. I'm not sure if you can tell. It was a little bit more liquidy. Now it's kind of firmed up a little bit. This is ideal. It helps give us nice, taller muffin tops than we would otherwise get. Now today's recipe makes 6 large muffins, so I've lined my muffin tin with paper liners, and I'm just going to use a large scoop, this is an ice cream scoop, to evenly divide the batter into the muffin tin. Next, I like to take a coarse sugar and sprinkle that over the top of each muffin. Of course, this is optional, but it makes the muffins look pretty and it adds a nice, sweet finishing touch. Now don't forget those chocolate chips that we reserved from earlier. We can just lightly press them on top of each muffin. Again, you could just mix these inside the batter, but I think it makes them look extra nice. All right, now we're going to take these muffins over to our 425 degree Fahrenheit oven, where we're going to bake them for 8 minutes. Now, after 8 minutes, we are not going to open the oven door, but we are going to reduce the oven temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, again, without opening the door, and we're going to let the muffins continue to bake for another 15 minutes. Now, we're doing 2 temperatures today because that higher temperature helps the muffins to get a nice rise quickly. It helps encourage a nice, tall muffin top, and then lowering the temperature allows the muffins to cook on the inside while keeping them nice and soft and tender and not over baking them. Once the muffins are finished baking, they should be a nice golden brown color. Now just let your muffins cool and then you can go ahead and dig in. And that is how you make these beautiful bakery-style chocolate chip muffins. I hope you guys enjoyed today's recipe, and if you try this one out, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I always love hearing from you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.